How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video and another deck profile from me, Jamie, with ScrubGames. And this time I'm going over the one of the newest leaders, being the Gogeta Xeno from set 12. So, first of all, got to give some props. First props is to Diego, our European champion. He put me on the deck after mentioning about it in one of the Discords that we're both in, and he gave me his list to have a look at. I tried it out once, and as soon as I tried it out the first time, I was totally in love with it, and I've not been able to put it down since, apart from when testing other things like aggro sin and stuff like that. And since he gave me the list, I've been tweaking it, trying to see how I like it, and if to make it more tailored for myself. And I've come up with this list, which I'm finding to be quite effective and quite useful. And as you saw, it's not different to the list I used in the Rising Phoenix Odyssey tournament, where I used it for my third round. Made a few changes since then, but it's a list I'm happy and comfortable with. And I even got a side deck to show as well that might be helpful if you want to use this in the current meta, if they have any locals, webcam events that come up and stuff like that. So getting on to deck list. So I'm going to go over the deck because it's a brand new deck. Go over the different cards because people might not understand what the cards do. So I'm going to start off with the leader. So this is a Goku and Vegeta Xeno. Goku Xeno and Vegeta Xeno. It's got 4 different skills, which includes the Awakening. So the first one is an auto, which is once per turn. When you play a battle card using a Union Fusion skill, draw 1 card. So similar to the Red Gogeta from set 11. The red Gogeta from set 11. When you use a Union skill, you draw a card, and it's on both sides as well. So really, with this deck, you want to keep your Awakening for your turn, so you can Union Fusion on your while you're on your front side, then to draw a card, then Awaken, then Union Fusion again, so you can get from your lead then 4 draws, 2 from the from performing a Union Fusion on either side, 1 from attacking, and then 1 from the Awakening as well. So your Awakening turn, you're netting 4 cards. And it's got another skill to help, which is one thing I really like in leaders, is some self-awakening. It's got the auto, when this guy attacks, draw 1 card, then add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. So this is really good in the fact that you don't have to take a life to draw. You draw and then you choose if you want to take a life or not. So you still get draw power on the front side, and then you've got the option of self-awaken if you want to, which is really good. It's really nice to be able to self-awaken rather than have to require outside cards to awaken yourself. Then it's got an activate main of once per turn, send up to 5 cards from the top of your deck to your warp. So this is useful for the strategy, because a lot of the strategy for this deck is using the Union Fusion, and each of the cards that has Union Fusion has the skill of as a permanent, which allows you to, instead of use cards from your hand for Union Fusion, so because Union Fusion you've got to discard the cards required for Union Fusion from your hand with the same power from your hand to your drop, but they each got a permanent. All 3 of them have a permanent that allows you to put them from your warp to your drop instead. So that means you lose nothing for a hand, because typically when you use the Union Fusion, you replace itself with the leader's effect, and you just put stuff back in the warp from the drop, which also fuels Overrun as well. So you can fill up your Overrun quite easily, and you've got a lot of synergy with it. It creates a lot of synergy, and the good thing about it is it sends up to 5 cards, so you don't have to just pick up 5 and chuck them in your warp. You can do it 1 at a time. So if you say you've got some warp, say you've got Gogetas in your warp, but you don't have a Vegeta, you can activate the effect, do it 1 at a time until you hit a Vegeta, and then just go right. That's it. And then lastly, with Awakening, on this side with the Awakening, it's the middle ground one. So it's when your life is 4 less, you may draw a card and then flip up to 1 it. Switch up to 1 of your energy to active mode, flip over. So it's a draw 1 and tap 1, which is quite handy. And if we go to the front side, we've got the no effects. So like I said, it's got the same effect also of when you Union Fusion, you draw a card. And it's got and its auto for swinging is when it attacks, you draw a card, then you can send up to 5 cards from the top of your deck to your warp. So unlike this, the front side, on the back side, you have to attack to build the warp cards. So it no longer has, you can attack, then decide if you want to warp some stuff. It's and like just the same, it says send up to, so you can choose 1 at a time if you want to. And it's got an activate main, different activate main on the front side, which is 1 per turn. You can add 1 card from your life to your hand, so it's a cost to add life. So if you go down to 1, you can't do that. You choose up to 2 of your black battle cards with energy cost of 1 and they get 10,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So it's really strong because a lot of the archetypes revolve around the Union Fusions and the 1-drops as well. And good thing about that is it gives it until the end of your opponent's next turn, so you give a boost in your turn to swing, and then it's still got that 10k boost to help make it harder to be killed by battle in your opponent's turn as well. And also in combination with the Unison we're going to go over in a bit, you can make your 1-drops 25k base, which is very strong, especially because some of them have some really strong effects. But that's it for the for the leader. Before we go into the rest of this, I also want to shout out DBS decks. This is no, sorry, not DBS decks. DBS Deck Planet. It's a new deck builder site for DBS in originating from Europe. It's really handy. Like it's got this one thing I like is the flip effect of the leader, so you can see both sides and you can actually see the card as well, so you can see what it looks like, so you can recognize it, and also you get to see, as you can see, all your whole main deck up like this. Adjust the level, the amount of cards in it with like pictures and stuff. So the deck important to untap, all the good things, and it's after using it for a few times, it's just now my go-to deck builder. I see for deck browse as well because I can have it like this, all open like this with will also be able to see both sides of the leader by flipping over, and also see the effects written out as well. So because one thing I didn't like about everyone's is you can't really see the effects on the effect leaders when you're going through a view of the deck. With this deck, you can go like this, and you get the whole effect and all details of the card. So going into the deck, so we got three fusions. I play a 4-4-1 split, so 4 of the 2 that are in the set and 1 of the promo. Reason for that is both these are only cost 1 to Union Fusion, while the promo costs 3. But with the Union, you're going to mainly use it off of your the main time you're going to play. You're not really going to be using it unless you really, really have to from your hand. By paying 3, you're normally going to bring it out from your Union skill. So with the first fusion, this is the main one you want to open with. It's a 6 cost. They're all 6 costs, but this one's a blocker, 16k. 5k combos, well, all the deck apart from the Kai are 5k combos, so you're never really dead for combo power. And even when with your super combo, you can put back the Kai if you don't have an energy to play it or combo with it. So you never really have dead 10ks in your hand. But as I said, it's got a blocker, Union skill, where if your leader is a black, say an only card, so it doesn't work with Vegex. Thank God for that. And you need Son Goku, Xeno, and Vegeta Xeno, and they have to be the same power. But luckily, all the cards in there, all the Gogetas and Vegetas are, Goku and Vegetas are 5k power. And as I said, they've all got the same permanent here, so I don't have to cover them for each one. You can use battle cards in your warp when you're choosing cards to use this card's Union skill from your hand. When you do, place the chosen cards from your drop area to your warp. So this is great in the fact that you don't lose anything from hand playing it, and you place itself, so you lose nothing from your hand because the leader draws you a card. And also, you fill up your drop area from warp for Overrun. So you fill up from your warp to your drop. You fill it up to allow you to overwhelm every turn, so consistently you can do stuff and then overwhelm every turn without having to waste cards from your hand. And this one's a really strong one, and one of the your main turn 1 play is because of the auto. It's a bit in blocker and for 1 energy, getting the draw on the front side of your leader. It's got an auto. When this card's played, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less, ignoring barrier and set to its warp. So that's very strong in the fact that some decks have these little 1-drops or battle cards where they have barrier, so they can't be interacted with. But this Gogeta allows you to go for 1 energy, get rid of it, and give yourself a 16k blocker while drawing a card as well. So like things like AOD, get rid of Barley, against Lord Slug, get rid of their wings, and against Invoker if they haven't got an energy up. And even if they do, they need to waste it. You can get rid of the Vegeta Invoker. And the good thing about that is even if they've got an energy up to use the counter, I can't remember the name of it, you can then do another one to get rid of it. So they've just tapped out the 1 energy that you've probably done turn 3 to protect the Vegeta, and you just do it again. And then they're set back because they have no invoker for the turn, and you have no fear because you can aggro quite hard with this deck. So this is the main one you want to open with, and because it's easy to play, it's the one you want to play first turn. And this next one is one that you can't play it turn 1. This is one that you normally want to, you do want to grab hold of, but the other one takes priority because this one is restricted in when you can drop it. So this is a 6 cost 20k, has barrier, so it's got some protection there in some sorts. So Union Fusion, if your leader card is a black Xeno only card and your opponent has 2 or more energy, so that means if you're going first, you can't play this until turn 3, and if your opponent goes second, then you can play it turn 2. So and because of this card, it makes it so it's not that bad going second. You can drop this earlier, and that hard like I've killed people on turn 2 and turn 3 after going second, and they haven't been able to do anything because they've got low hand, and this allows you to, so one opens up a lot of plays for you. Once again, you've got same permanents, I'm not going to go over that, but it has activate main, which doesn't show it on here, but it requires 1 black. Yes, I think it showed on the other one. Each of the Union Fusions for this one and the Fearless Fusion require 1 black energy, and this one, for its activate main, requires 1 black energy. And then you place this card at the bottom of your deck and play up to 1 Son Goku Xeno card with energy cost of 1, and up to 1 Vegeta Xeno with energy cost of 1 from your drop or warp. So this is great in the fact that when you warp, you put back the Goku and Vegeta from your warp to your drop, the Union Fusion this, you can then overrun, put it back in your warp, and then you can sap this off, put it at the bottom of your deck to play those 1-drops back on the field. And the 1-drops are pretty strong, and this is once we go over them, you'll see that why this card is such a strong card, because the 1-drops it can bring out. And the good thing about this is this and the Kai we're going to cover after we've covered the fusions allow you to make sure you don't really deck out with this deck, because this and the Kai go to the bottom of the deck, meaning unless your opponent can make you draw a lot or mill you, you're not really going to deck out with this deck. But this is normally what you want for turn 2 and turn 3. And then we're going to the last one, the promo one. So this is the once again, it's another 6-drop, and it's a 25k with double strike. Union Fusion requires 3 of any energy, as long as your leader is a black Zen only card and you use a Son Goku Xeno and a Vegeta Xeno. Same permanent as the other ones, and this one's a good one for a finisher. But like I said, you don't really want to use this from your hand by paying 3, because paying 3 is a lot. It doesn't have deflects if you're going to get things like blue or even green. They're going to get rid of this before it actually has to do anything. You've just tapped 3 for nothing. And even with the other counterplays like yellow, it puts it in rest, but then you can still get a swing with it because the activate main, and red will just reduce the power of it, so it's not that strong. But the reason why it's a good finisher is because 1, it's 25k double strike, which is 25k is a sweet spot, and double strike is a good way to finish. Take your opponent from down to 2-0. And it's got an activate main of once per turn you can place 1 Son Goku Xeno with 5k power and 1 Vegeta Xeno with 5k power in your drop area from your warp. So just go to active mode. So it means this is basically a dual attack double striker on 25k. So it's really strong. But like I said, you're going to mainly want to bring out this from your this is the main target you want to bring out from your Unison's -3. Next card we have is the Kai. So this is the Union. This is sort of the Union package. These 2 cards. So we've got the Kai, which is a promo. Really, in my opinion, you need this card if you want the deck to function, because it. Well, if you can play it without it, but if you want this deck to be as strong as possible, you're going to need to play set this card to allow this deck to function as strong as it can be and at full capacity. So it's got an activate main, but if your leader card is a black Xeno only card, which lucky your leader is, and you place this card at the bottom of your deck from your warp. So once again, all these cards have a huge benefit of your leader warping the top 5 cards from your deck. If you don't have a Unison card in play, you can choose 1 black Unison card with no specified cost of 15k power from your hand, or warp and play it with a marker on it. Then you can't play Unison cards for the rest of the turn. So it's really strong because it allows you to replay Unison. So one thing we're going to go over with the Unison is it's got a -3 that allows you to. It's got a -3 effect. You can use that. So once you get Unison to 3, use the -3 skill, which puts it in the drop and fulfills its skill, and then you can use this. Then you can overrun, put this card, put the Unison in the warp, and then either you can use the Trunks regulator you can probably see on the screen to warp this, or if this card's already warped, you can then put this at the bottom, play out the Unison again, and then you've had a swing with the Unison, use the Unison effect, and you've got the Unison back on the field to play it without costing any energy at all. But this is the main pivot. This is the main thing of the deck, and again, as I said, with the SS3 Gogeta SR, it allows you to not deck out, and it allows you to play. It's one of the things that allow you to play your cards cheap as possible, because nothing in this deck is more than one, really. Like most decks, apart from Mecha Cabrera, as you can see at the bottom, nothing is played for more than one energy. And then the Unison with choice we got in the deck, which features really well with the deck, is Pycon. Well, I'm not going to say Pycon, I'm going to say Pycon, so I know it. Savior from Another Time. So this is the Unison of choice. It's got a permanent of this kind of can't attack if it has 2 or fewer markers on it. So you got to get on free. But if your opponent leaves this alone, you get the free. It's -3. It's very strong. So it's got a +1, which is the main one you're going to use. If you don't have free markers on it, you're going to use the +1, which is an activate main. Choose up to 2 of your black battle cards with energy cost of 1, and they get £10,000 to the end of your opponent's next turn. So as I said before, when I was going over the leader, is that this combined with the leader can make 2 1-drop, either 4 1-drops 15k each for 4 swings threatening damage. Your opponent's going to have to combo out or take, and then or you can make 2 things 25k. It's a really strong effect. It allows you to apply a lot of pressure for a little cost as well. And the -3 that you're going to be mainly using to bring out your promo Gogeta is activate main, play one black battle card with energy cost 6 and Union Fusion skill from your drop or your warp. So being from drop or warp is really good, because if you have it in hand, you can combo off, swing with this, combo off, then use effect to bring that back out. And if it does hit your warp from your leader's effect, you then get to bring it out from your warp straight to the field. Very strong, and it fits the core of the deck. Now we're going to go over the Goku and Vegetas. They're all 1-drops, apart from the Vegeta Super Combo, which ties really nicely because of the power. We got Son Goku, the True Fire Spirit. So this is probably the right. If think about it, the Goku cards are a lot better than the Vegeta cards in this, just because their effects, because their effects are a lot stronger and easier to pull off. The first one we got is Son Goku, True Fire Spirit. This is a very strong card. It has Deflect, meaning that it's unaffected by counterplays, and it also has a way of soft awakening you. Because as you can see, as you remember, with your leader, you awakens at 4 life. And when it attacks on its front side, you can take a life when it swings. So, and if your opponent's not attacking you, it's going to take 4 turns to do that. But luckily, you have ways to self-awaken quickly with this card and the corresponding Vegeta. So when you can have one card from your life to your hand. With this card attacks, it gets 10,000 power for the turn. So this means that in combination with the leader and the Pycon, this can be a 35k swing, which is very strong. And one thing that makes it probably the strongest 1-drop in the deck is its Ever Auto, which is once per turn. If your leader card is a Black Saiyan, which it is, when your opponent activates a counter skill, they choose 1 card from the hand and set it to warp. So this is really strong in the fact that against things like Dormant, against Mecha Frieza, where they're using things like Nimbus and stuff, or against Blue Baby, things like that, or even with counterplays in any deck, while you got this on the field, your opponent's going to be losing a card from their hand. So if they Dormant you and you got this on the board, they're going to be losing Dormant. They're losing the card to discard from Dormant to make it so you can attack 1 per turn, and they get warp from a card. So if you got one of these on board for Dormant, they're losing 3 cards instead of just 2, just to stop you, make it so you can only attack twice. And the more you have on board, the more cards are losing. So I've had it before. I've had 3 on board, and I've pressured my leader, and they were so worried about this card skill would counter that they didn't bother using any counters to stop my attacks, and I ended up just putting pressure through them, and ended up killing them because they were afraid of using countering and losing multiple cards from hand, because I had 3 of these on the board, meaning that if they used Anna Vegeta as well, so meaning if they use any counter that untap their energy as well, they would have lost 4 cards from the hand as well as the counter. So this is the main one you want to go for. And the other Goku we have is the reason we won 2 different Gokus and Vegetas is because the corresponding one with this as well has unique. So this Goku has unique and the corresponding Vegeta has unique. But this Goku is a double striker, which means that way you don't really have to run Champa. I'd avoid running Champa in this deck because sometimes you don't have the energy, and Champa just becomes dead in hand because a lot of your energy goes into. I'd rather go like turn 2, do 2 Union Fusions to get the draw off both sides of my leader, and then use the SS3 Gogeta SR's effect to bring out 2 to put as much pressure as possible. And if I have Champa on the field, I can't really put as much pressure to will him down. and it just becomes dead. But this one's just like the Vegeta, it's got an effect to help boost it as well. So in the auto, which is auto once per turn, with this Goku, it's when your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand using a non-leader card skill, this card gets 10,000 power until the end of your next turn. So potentially, depending on how much your opponent draws in both your turn, their turn, and then your next turn, this can be a 35k swing just on its own. And the good thing about the reason why this one is better than Vegeta, like most of the all the Gokus in this deck are better than Vegeta's, is if you swing your leader and pump it up and then put a load of cards into it, when they use if they think they're going to be safe and they use a super combo to help combo out, as soon as you use a super combo and draw with it, the Goku then gets a boost of another 10k, making that super combo irrelevant. It didn't add anything, it just added 0 technically. And then the last Goku we have to make it 9, because I have 9 of each Goku and Vegeta, because I was finding with just 2 lots, including the super combo, I was either like when I'm running. The reason why I'm running 9 Goku and 9 Vegeta is because sometimes I either have one Vegeta out on the field and not be able to bring out another one. I would try it without running the Vegeta Fighting Spirit, but then when I already had a Vegeta out on the board, I could get more from this Gogeta. I was only bringing out 1 card instead of 2, so I wasn't getting as much value from my cards, or I wasn't able to get enough cards out to enough of these 1-drops out of Vegeta and Goku that helps off Awaken. So I upped them both to 9. Because the super combo, like I had it once when I had to use a super combo Union Fusion because I didn't have a Vegeta and Warp, which felt bad, and also it makes sure that I can at least get 2 cards from my Gogeta rather than just having to get 1. And what I use is, for the 9th, is 1 Son Goku making an entrance, just a counter attack. This is just nice to have a negate if you feel that you can't kill your opponent and you fear that they're going to try and put a lot of pressure on you next turn. You use this as a negate. And either way, if you don't want to use it as a negate, it's still fusion fodder because it's a 5k 1-drop like the rest of the Gokus and Vegetas. And also, you can always charge it or put it back with the Vegeta super combo. Then for the first of the Vegetas, we have the Vegeta Catastrophic Premonition, so the opposite of the Goku Catastrophic Phenomenon. So this one is a unique with critical instead of double strike, and it's got a similar effect to boost, which is not as strong as the Goku, but still quite good. Is also once per turn when your opponent plays a battle card with energy cost greater than the energy. Using a skill, this card gets 10k power until the end of your next turn. So if your opponent uses Champa, or uses a card play like Frieza or something like that, or just plays anything that's stronger than energy, it gets a 10k boost. And if they do it on, and like I was with Goku, if they do it on your turn, then their turn, then your next turn, it becomes a 35k on its own, without any boost from Pycon and Gogeta. And then the other Vegeta we can bring out as well, the 1-drop, is Vegeta True Fighting Spirit. So just like the Goku, it has Deflect and an auto where you can take a life to gain 10k when it attacks. And it's got a different kind of auto which isn't as strong as the Goku, which is once per turn, if your leader card is a black sailing card, when your opponent switches their energy to active mode with a non-Awakened skill, they choose 1 card in hand and set it to warp. So it's just like with the Goku, they can warp cards from hand depending on a certain criteria, but this only really works against blue where people play in Bean. So is or any other effects that any of the other effects that are like minimal in different colours that can untap energy outside the leader. So that's why it's only at 2, because it's just another target to have. So I can get as much value off of the Gogeta if I've already got the other Vegeta on the field because it's got unique. And also to make sure there's more targets to make sure that when I do my top 5 on the first turn, I can have more of a chance of hitting enough to Union Fusion turn 1. Then the last Vegeta we got is Super Combo, and this is the best black super combo really at the moment, just because it allows you to put back cards you don't want to the bottom of your deck and draw 2 brand new cards. So say if you've got the card in your hand but you can't play it and you get an aggro 9 you need to survive, and the card's not going to be handy, or you're trying to dig for something, you could just put anything to the bottom. Like say you got Max Power Kamehameha in your hand and it's dead, it's not going to help you. You can put that back to draw 2 new cards and hopefully get more combo power. Because if your leader card is black and your life is a 4 or less and all your energy is black, which it always will be, when it's using the combo, it gets 10k power for the battle. Then you can choose one card in your hand, place it at the bottom of the deck, and if you do, draw 2 cards. So the best super combo, and it fits nicely with the theme being a 5k Vegeta Xeno. And then the last one drop we got that isn't a Goku Vegeta is a Haru Shunshin sister. So this is really handy to give you double strike because it's got permanent of during your turn. If you have a black Unison in play, this card gets 10,000 power and double strike. So when you got your Pycon out in the field, you can play for free using the Kai. This becomes a 15k, and then the Pycon can choose it to make it a 25k double striker during your turn. And then during your opponent's turn, it's still 15k, meaning they can't just run it over like they would in any other deck if it was a 5k. And this is just more double strike pressure if you don't have the Goku. Then we got a secret rare choice, which is the Supreme Kai of Time, Space Time Unraveler. So the best secret rare at the moment, for the best generic secret rare that can go in any deck. Very strong. Ultimate tag, so you can only run one, obviously. Sort of similar permanent to the Hatchak, in the fact that if this guy will be removed from your battler, removed from the game, it said. So if you so one thing you never want to do is combo this with field, because as soon as you tap one to combo it, it gets removed from the game instead of going to your combo area. Because as soon as it goes from your battle area, no matter where it's going to go into the combo and everything, it's gone. And it's got 2 strong effects. First one is activate main, which is for 1 energy. You can choose this card in all your opponent's battle cards and Unison and send them to their owner's warp. So it means you can wipe your opponent's board for 1 energy after you drop it, and you're normally going to be dropping it in your opponent's turn. And the way you're going to be dropping it in your opponent's turn is for the activate battle for 1 energy. If you have 3 or more energy, so you've got to at least get the turn 3 to be able to drop this. As long as you have 3 energy, it doesn't matter if your opponent has. So if you go first and you hit turn 3, it's live. You can play this card from your hand, and if you do, your opponents can't attack with leader cards or using cards for turn. So the really good thing about this is if your opponent decides not to attack with leader first but something else because they want to get the effect off, attack off, and they attack with a battle card first, and they still got a Unison. Let's say they got a Unison and a leader on the field, and they swing with a battle card first. You can then, as long as it's not your Unison, you can activate battle, tap 1, play it, and now they can't attack with the leader in Unison for the turn. And in your turn, you can just always just swing with it, then tap 1 to warp their board. That is one of the best secret rares, but not essential for the deck. Now onto the Overrun options. We got Trunks, the time regulator. So this is just an Overrun free. So you need three cards in warp in your drop, to activate Overrun. And it's got a useful, so when you play this card using Overrun, you draw 2 cards and choose 1 card in your hand and send it to your warp. So this is fantastic in the fact that you can get a free 15k body for cheap, because all you need to do is do 1 Union Fusion to put 2 cards back from your warp to your drop, and then combo off 1 card, and then boom, you have the requirements to play Trunks. And it helps set up things like having Union Fusion targets for Gogeta. If you say you've got a Goku in your warp as well as the 3, but you don't have Vegeta and you've got Vegeta in your hand, you can Overwhelm, draw 2 cards, warp the Vegeta. Now you can play the Union Fusion by putting the warp to your drop. And the good thing is, it helps with the Kais. So if you got a Kai, say if you got 2, so you can Union Fusion for a Gogeta Fearless, to put 2 back from your warp to your drop. Play the Gogeta Fearless, swing with the Gogeta Fearless, combo off a Kai. So it's one of the 5. When is one of the 3 in your warp ready, and then you can Overwhelm Trunks, draw 2, warp the Pycon, and you can use the Kai to go to the bottom deck to play the Pycon from your warp. And you've not really lost anything because the Gogeta's replaced itself, and the time regular replaces itself as well because it draws 2 cards. Because you use the Trunks and the Pycon go from your hand, but you draw 2 new cards. So you lost nothing from hand, but gained a 16k, a 15k, and a Unison as well on board. It's the best one. That's why we have it at 4. And the other one we have is SS4 Son Goku Beyond All Limits. So this is our Overrun 6. Well, that might sound like a lot to get 6 battle cards in drop. It's not that difficult. All you need to do is perform 2 fusions and then combo 2 cards when you swing, and that's it. And you play this as a free 30k. And this is really handy because it is also, if your leader is black, leader card is black, when this card is played using Overrun, add up to 1 black battle card with energy cost between 3 and 7 from your warp to your hand. So this is really good, and you can add back from your hand one of the fusions if you need a fusion. You can get back a Trunks back to your hand as well if you need another Overrun, or just reloop. If you've got one of these copies in your warp, you can keep every turn going, play this to grab the other copy, so every turn you've got the same union Overrun. You can keep dropping this every turn. Got a nice loop there. You can grab back the SS3 Tag Team Trunk Gohan that we've got. I'll bring it over as well. If you need a blocker, so after this is gone, after this goes to warp at the end of the turn, you can play the Gohan. It's just really good for being a 30k beat stick and grabbing you back of something you might want, like a Union or Trunks. Next we have 2 Mecha Bergs. This card is probably one of the best for the format at the moment, because where a lot of decks are quite linear and quite have the same play every turn, it's very handy. It's got the Deflect as well, means your opponent can't counterplay it to stop it from coming out. And it has a nice effect of just, if you're like against certain decks, it's very strong. Like with Dark Broly, you can play it called Dark Broly in 6, and then you know that for your opponent's next turn, they can't play any other 6-cost Dark Brolys for the turn. Or against Red Broly, you can call, say if your opponent's going to go, I've got the free drop out, and you play this, you can go Broly BR4, and they can't play the Broly BR4 drop, even if they're on the Awakened side and you kill the free drop, they can't bring out the 4 drop from their from the leader. So that if they want to get back the chain, they have to discard a card and play it from their free drop out. You can't go 4 or higher, and it just helps put kinks in the chain like that. And even against Gotenks, if you play against one you can call Gotenks 6, and they can't play the 6-cop Gotenks Reaper of Justice. It's a really good card, and that's what I've got 2 main decked at the moment. And another card we have 2 main decked is the SS3 Tag Team Son Gohan. So this is a strong card because of the fact you can use it easily offensively or defensively. So it's a 15k blocker, but it's got permanent that's basically like unique, where you can only have one in your battle area. And it's got an auto, when the black battle card is removed from your battle area by a skill and fit this skill, you may play it from your hand. So it basically means that if either you or your opponent use a skill to get rid of one of your black battle cards, you can play this from your hand as long as you don't have one on the field already. So this is easy to pull off. Either defensively, you can just at the end of the turn, after you've used your Overrun and it's gone, you can play this down from your hand because the Overrun's gone by its skill. Or during your turn, if you want to use it offensively, if you use the SS3 Gogeta super rare, you could when it taps 1 and puts itself at the bottom of the deck, you can then play this after you get the 1 drops out. So it's very good. It's a very good card, or just a 5k combo, but it's a good way to use offensive or defensive. So this deck can be switched between being aggressive or being conservative if you want to be, depending on how you play. And the last thing we have is 2 negates in max power Kamehameha. So I did have Power Burst, but Power Burst was I didn't really want to take a life to defend, because I'd rather use the life to use when my leader boosts 2 1-drops to be offensive. And even with Power Burst you can get a 1-drop back, but it's not really that handy to get a 1-drop back, unless I can get the Son Goku make an entrance, but then I got to have an energy open for that, and I'd rather have this anyway for the 1-drop. But this is useful as you can either use it as a negate, and then get it back by warping 4 cards from your drop area to add it back to your hand, but then you can't use it again for the turn. But the main reason I use this over Power Burst is it's an activate main of choosing for 1 energy, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than their current energy, set to its warp. So this is mainly for against Sin, because against Sin it shuts off all your effects, so you can't be as aggro, do things as you want. So this is a nice card for against things like Sin Shenron when they drop the 9-drop, to get rid of it so your players can carry on uninterrupted. And being 1 energy, it's not that bad, not a cheap removal. And unlike remote serious bomb, you get to choose what you get rid of rather than your opponent. So rather than give them the choice to hit something else, you can make sure you get rid of that Sin. And while they draw 2 and bring out the 1-drop, it's better to have them to have those 2 cards and that 1-drop back, so you can actually carry on with your play rather than be really restrictive on what you can actually do. And that is it for the main deck. So for the side deck, this is currently what I have. I haven't really tested it properly, but this is what I've come up with for a decent one. We've got Hara Hara as the 3-drop critical. Also, when you play this card, you can. So basically, this is just handy for against blue and green. So against because in your green decks you can play this for free energy, untap those free, so you can basically just give yourself a free 15k critical attacker. Or if you get the 4 energy, you can tap free to tap for 1 for a Union Fusion, then tap free to untap all 4, so you got more plays. Just handy against green and yellow decks. We've got Gohan, Sun Gohan changing history, so this is just helpful for more cards. Well, it could be just a 1-drop cantrip that you can have, and it's just more help against blue decks, because I personally really hate blue decks because it's just stally and they don't really do anything. And this is just handy against things blue decks that are like that, where they just don't do anything, don't really try to interact with you, and just stall. Just makes it so that if they're trying to defend, it's harder for them, because you can be quite aggro. Then you have Super Kamehameha, so this is something I would normally side out to the 2 max power for. You might try to be aggressive when my opponent's got things like Topo and stuff, like counter attacks that do anything, or things, or just 4-drop or less that I just don't want on the board, then they drop on me. And the good thing about this is where you can easily self-awaken yourself to 4, you can free play it as well, so you can carry on, use up all your energy for what you need to do, and use this for free as well. And it sends the card to the warp run and it drops, so it helps stop sparking. Then you got an unexpected turn. So this is pretty good for the mirror. Basically just stop something coming out, like an Overrun with your opponent, and then get rid of all their 1-drops if they got 1-drops. And yeah, it's just a handy 1-drop counterplay to help stop something big come down. And next we have Dark Power Black Machine. So this is helpful for the meta, but against some things like like Broly BR, it's not as helpful because they got the Piccolo Unison to get rid of it. But then they've got to tap out. They got to tap 1 energy to play that Piccolo Unison to get rid of it. And normally I would take Hara out for this, or even the Vegetas, if depending on how, if I need either be Hara or the Vegeta to take out for this, because it's still a 1-drop, and then it's harder to get rid of in this deck because the Pycon can give it a boost to make it 15 and rather than 5k, so it's not as easy to go over. And normally you would probably want to take out the Hara because you want the Vegetas, just as I said, to have enough Vegetas to make as much effort off, to get as much value off the Gogetas. Then we got Secret Identity, just easy as Overrun to remove, so if you feel like you don't need the SS Force on Goku, you can swap those out for the Secret Identity if you feel like you need more board removal. And lastly, 2 Power Bursts for if you feel like if you're not going to get Sin and you feel you need negates, you need a negate that you can actually use after you've tapped out, this could be easy switch in. That's it for the deck. This has been testing really well for me, and I thought I'd pop the list on because I know someone asked for the list before, and I thought I'd hand out what I'm currently running. I'm really enjoying this deck, and it is testing really well and just a lot of fun to play. But I said normally turn 1 you want to start off with the Fearless, so you can get rid of like a 1-drop they play, or just have a blocker and trigger Union Fusion because you can't play the other 2. So at least it makes it so you can get an extra draw turn 1, and you're normally going to be using the activate main off your leader's front side to warp 5. So you should hopefully get a Goku Vegeta, put them back to get this to get an extra draw, and it can each get you a blocker for if your opponent goes against aggro. And then turn 2, once your opponent gets a 2 energy, you want to drop this Goku, so you can swing, get a draw, swing for 20k, tap 1 Never Black energy to bring out 2 1-drops, mainly Fighting Spirit and this Vegeta critical, and then play the Pycon. And then this Goku will help you self-awakening. You only really want to bring out this Vegeta if you really need self-awakening, or you're going against blue, and to help you self-awaken more. And then, as I said, this Gogeta here you want to mainly bring off the Pycon. And one of the good thing with this is, say if you have 3 markers on the Pycon, you swing with it first. You always want to swing with it first. Then uses -3 to bring out this Gogeta, and then you Overrun to put this Pycon in the warp, hopefully with a Kai. Then what you can do is use the Kai, bring out a Pycon, use the plus 10k on 2 of your 1-drops, then put a Never you have in hand underneath it so it's got 3 markers so it can swing again. This is really handy to help get around things like, I've gotten around things like Flying Nimbus before by swing with a battle card, like normally this Gogeta here. And then you've used Flying Nimbus, so now I swung with my Pycon. Then use the effect of the Gogeta, got out 2 1-drops, swung with the Pycon, so I still have more attacks because of Unison, using -3, bring out a Gogeta that I can swing with as my ever battle card, use the Kai, bring out a Pycon again, put a marker under it, use the +1, swinging with again, swing with leader, so Nimbus didn't really stop that many attacks. I still got a few attacks on the Nimbus, so they went safe. And even get, but they get dormant and things like that. It's quite handy. And also this deck gets under things like a Violent Rays, apart from these two, and the Overrun. So because you can just swing with you can boost this one drops up this one drop the Goku, True Fighting Spirit, and Vegeta, True Fighting Spirit, up to 15k, and then swing with them. Then after they swung, then you can boost them up to 25k. So you can either put, if your opponent Violent Rays you can make multiple one drops 15k because it still puts pressure. But if you haven't got Violent Rays, you can put them at 25 to put some good pressure on the other two. One was critical and double strike. But that's all from me. It's been a long one. Just like to make sure I explain all the cards because it's a brand new deck. Also providing a side deck, which I haven't normally done, to help you if you're going into a big tournament or even locals and you want a side deck for it. And also I like to go over the turn play and the different interactions with the cards. But once again, leave a like if I like the video, if you enjoyed the list, description and information provided. Feel free to subscribe as well if you want to keep updated with my videos and see more things like this. And even I'm starting to do more gameplay footage of my using some of these deck lists I've posted up. And also as well coming soon, and probably have happened this week, so I think this is the middle of the week this goes up. I've got cube draft games, so you can, rather than just see my post about the different lists we use for cube drafting and stuff, you can actually watch and see what cube draft games are like. And lastly, feel free to comment on any videos if there's anything I miss, anything you don't understand, anything you want me covering. I can do a video or just answer the comment myself. But yeah, this has been all for me. Hope you enjoy this. Sorry it's been a long one, but thank you for watching, or wait till the end if you have. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, bye.